Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Happy Tuesday, one and all. Well, so the cat's out the bag, huh? um, you all noticed, huh? Wow, just wow. Um, and just as I was making that slide, I said to myself, I said, um, you got to change it because the number is flipping again. I mean, literally, as I was looking at it, the number jumped up to 20,236. Who knows what it is now? But um, thank you, thank you, thank you. As all I could keep saying is thank you so much um, for liking, sharing, and most importantly, subscribing. That has made all the difference in the world. And I am just glad to be able to have this platform so that we can help our faves. That's where it started from, and that has to always be the focus is that it is for our faves and it's not any one individual, it's the group effort. There is no I in team, etc., etc. Um, yeah, but I was like, oh, I wonder. And I went and looked, and it was just like 20,003. And now, oh, by the way, that's what I was going to do. I was going to take a look just to see where we are right now. Um, and the survey says, ding, um, 256, 20,256. I'll take that. All right. So thank you so much. Viewership is way up, and there's a much more diverse audience than ever before. So that is really cool. Yes, thank you guys. I am very, very excited. I'm very happy. It's good to know that we are getting the message out there for our faves. So, um, you know what? And that again is a group effort. So let me go through this very fast here. Thank you for becoming a new member. Massa Coley, thank you so much for being a new member of Royal Sussex. Also, thank you, Lydia Washington, for sounding the alarm first thing today. Oh, and thank you for being an amazing, amazing moderator. And Audrey Teschner, thank you so much for the super chat. Uh, Thank you so much for being very supportive and watching Royal Sussex. And also, Gloria Brown, thank you for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Tuesday to you. I really appreciate all of you all being here. And Elaine Parker, thank you for the super sticker and being a member of Royal Sussex. And thank you so much for being here. And Connie Balmer, thank you, Connie Balmer, for the super sticker. And thank you for staying up late or waking up early sometimes so that you can be a part of this conversation. Always, always greatly appreciate it. I got my chapstick. Don't worry. I got it. I am literally sitting here with my chapstick. It is that time of year. So, thank you very much again, everyone. Um, Happy Tuesday to you all. Let me say hi to a few other people. By the way, Nagatira Mona wants to say hi to a few people. Joan Garcia, thank you. Thank you so much. You go, Baron. 20K just to start. We all love you and have your back. I appreciate that so much. And thank you so much for your constant support. So let's see. Kim Coates. Who else? Kids Indoor. Also, Anna Espinoza. Hi, Anna. Rosa Roberts, Joyce Anderson, as well as who else? Rhonda McKnight, Rodney Jackson, Jennifer Clark, Beverly Poddington rather, and Brenda Gray, Ray Raquel, Anita Alpia. Worldwide birthday celebration. It is a celebration. Thank you, Karen, Sherry Ware, Raven, Diane Hawkins, Veronica Quick, Lucy Wynn, Denise Marcus. Okay, and Berta Sanchez. Hi, Sonia Johnson. All right, so I am going to get right into it because we got some things to cover. Ray Raquel, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Congratulations, Baron, for a safe space, and thank you, moderators. Ray Raquel, you are quite welcome, but let me say this. I don't remember who it was, but this anonymous person who I can't recall, I have to give so much credit to, and it was someone early into Royal Sussex who told me, they said, listen, if you want your channel to grow, get rid of the trolls. Get rid of the trolls. And so, without any regard, I just started block, 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 block. Yeah. This is not a democracy. Block, 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 block. And it has made a lot of difference because you never know how important that safe space is until you're not in one and you find yourself bombarded by all kind of negative thoughts and images and stuff like that. Um, which, by the way, I saw the funniest thumbnails the other day, and I meant to screenshot those so that I could share them, and I don't recall if I did. Uh, Deirdre Meinke rather, thank you so much for becoming a member of Royal Sussex, and thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you for watching Royal Sussex. So, Olivia, happy birthday. Hi, happy birthday, Olivia. Many happy returns of the day. Um, yeah, you know what? Let me see if I can find that one before I forget about it. But guys, some of those thumbnails that I see, they're just so outrageously wrong. And you just know that whoever made the thumbnail, English is not their first language. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But you just know English is not their first language. And I ain't gonna lie to you, some of those have me howling. I think they're so funny because they're just so terribly misplaced or ill conceived or whatever you want to call it. But I'm just like, seriously? And but you know, there are people who will believe the outrageousness of it. So, oh man, well, I guess that's too bad because now I do. Oh, there it is right there. I love this one. Love this one. Let me see if I can find my other two faves. And oh man. And you know what? I was going to just say right now, I am going to miss some of those really pathetic, sad thumbnails that they would make of the Queen. But I don't think I am going to miss them because I don't think that they're ever going to stop doing them. So, um, yeah, it'll just be the next phase of it, I suppose. But oh, okay, there's this one. Okay. I'm just grabbing a couple of these favorites of mine just for fun. Of course, you already know what a couple of them are. So, oh, is that one? Okay. Well, you know what? That one's not as amusing, but I'll just throw it in there just to say I did. And okay, let me get back over there then. All right. So yeah, let's just get started then, shall we? Where am I? There we are. All right, so I'm going to take another scroll through. Marikata, thank you so much for the super chat. I imagine Meghan and Harry are making waffles for Archie and Lilibet with the waffle maker the Queen gave Archie for Christmas. Marikata, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. And you know what? Thank you for giving me something pleasant to think about after the week that we've had. I mean, surely we didn't feel the worst of it like Harry and Meghan, but we all had to, suffer through it in one way or the other. And even though it would have been easier just to turn away and pretend like it wasn't happening, most of us did not turn away, and we stayed in there praying for them and in some cases calling them out. So yeah, but thank you for that because I forgot all about the waffle maker. All right, so the hat and the cape. So the hat. Um, I tell you, I believe the Duchess of Sussex may do what Dynasty did for hats back in the 1980s. Back in the 80s, there was a resurgence of people wearing hats. That was something that just kind of faded away. People would rather feather and jack their hair up and everything like that. The last thing they wanted to do was to put a hat on their head. Well, I believe that the trend is going to come back thanks to the Duchess of Sussex with her many amazing hats. Not that she's worn that many, but it's just, when she wears the few that she has, it just has such a huge impact. And I'm sure the searches must be off the charts for the outfit that she wore to the funeral. Stephen Black, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Congrats on hitting over 20K subscribers. Thanks to all of you who make this a safe space for the Sussex Squad. Thank you so much, Stephen Black. And yes, thanks to all of you who make this a safe space, moderators in particular, for going into the trenches. And also for everybody else in the squad that take the time to confront some of these ones that we have overlooked, which I've actually seen one of those conversations yesterday before I blocked that person. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. And not just the safe spaces here, but also on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You guys have been the true warriors, and you have shared your stories about how you were put in Facebook jail and alike. So, yes, thank you, each and every one of you. As I say, this is a group effort faux show. But thank you very much, Stephen Black, and thank you for the many memes that you have shared with us over the past few months. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, and so as you guys know, whenever the Duchess of Sussex wears a cape, that means that she means business. It is somewhat symbolic, and it's also emblematic of exactly who and what she is and what she stands for. And you know it must be a big deal if I start using big words. So, um, hats off, no pun intended, to the Duchess of Sussex for coming through. I mean, this made the most iconic image. Um, even if you ask me, by the time that day started, even the crown jewels, are probably not as impressive as the amount of coverage that this look has received. Let me see. What? Really? Really? Karen M, are you serious? Karen, I can believe that, and I'm going to tell you why. Karen says breaking. The official TV ratings for the Queen's funeral are in. Figures suggest more people watched last year's Euro final than Princess Diana's funeral. Um, you know, it's I'll tell you what. Did you mean the Queen's funeral or did you mean Princess Diana's? Well, Princess Diana's funeral, let's think about this. You couldn't really stream stuff back then, so you had to watch it real time. Plus, we were in shock. As for the Queen's funeral, if that's what you meant in the last part of that, the Queen's funeral, people, especially in the United States, who wants to get up that early to watch a funeral for, the Queen when you could just stream bits and pieces of it later? So unless it's something that you just have to see real time, why would you bother? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, like for instance, I'm going to give you an example: the Oscars. People say the Oscars are dead. The Oscars are dead. The ratings are so bad. We've already seen the movie, and we know whether or not we are invested in seeing that person win. And because we can stream the results, why would you sit through 4 and 5 hours of television production when you could just look at the highlights later? A lot of people, especially young people, choose not to do that. And so the same with this funeral. I mean, uh, what's the big sale to a young person to wake up early to watch the Queen's funeral? Some white lady with white hair and a white castle in a country that doesn't seem to like brown and black people. That's a tough sell, you know. And I don't think a lot of people realize that the UK is such a multicultural society because the face of it is the Daily Mail. So that's not a big sell to people, you know? So um I believe that the numbers are not going to be substantial, whatever they think, and that blanket coverage that they use, networks can make a lot of money doing very little by covering something that they don't have to pay to create. All they have to do is pay for the production. So it's easy money for them. So I think there's a lot of factors that people just don't take into account when they say this is the ratings on this is good and that's bad. But as for the Queen's funeral, I just don't think it was a big selling point to some people, especially with the conversations about slavery as well as the colonialism and such. I think that really killed it for a lot of people. So let me know your thoughts on that. Anyway, thank you so much, Karen, for that information, and I hope I got that right. Let me see. Hey, Sherry Ware, TCC son. Bonsoir, Charlotte. Okay. Hello, Black Queen. Black Queen, you said, what's that you say here? Oh, that was for someone else.
I'm not sure I understand.
Did you guys just hear my Siri? Hey Siri, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
A woodchuck would chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. But if a woodchuck could chuck woodchucks chucking wood, then a woodchuck could chuck wood chucking woodchucks. How about another tongue twister?
Hey Siri, does she sell seashells by the seashore?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, bye Siri. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I said that woke up Siri, but Siri was just like, how can I help you? Berta Sanchez says, I am right there with you, Miss Kathy. I have been on a roll and almost lost my religion on some of these stupid people. Uh, it's been tough. It's been tough. Okay, there are pictures showing that the media lied about how many people actually was watching at the parks. I saw that, Karen. You are a well of information today. I saw that one. That one I saw. there was like big empty spaces with those jumbotrons, and they put all those jumbotrons out there because they thought people were going to spill over into the parks. And I mean, you could have just rolled like you were like a little kid, just roll across the grass and not run into another person. How embarrassing. Hyacinth, hello. Hello, Baron and Squatties. Happy Tuesday. I was looking at German TV, and they were saying that Meghan write a letter to King Charles that she wanted to have a face-to-face talk with him. Uh, yeah, if that is the case, then what has been happening ever since the Queen died is continuing to happen, and that is constant briefing against the Sussexes. Let me see here. Sandra G. Barron, I'm so pleased you have reached over 20K. You deserve this success. You work so hard to bring us something new every day. Well, thank you, Sandra G, for that. And yes, and I'm glad to do it, by the way. I appreciate you saying that. Uh, nope, that's Roberta. Uh, I didn't get a chance to see that. Is it Don Beck? I didn't get a chance to watch Sharon Sade yet. Sharon Sade gave a good assessment of Meghan versus Kate Attire. She was spot on. One showed respect. What is that? Respect. What? Okay. What? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't know if that's a typo. That last word. Let me see. Okay. Beverly McCaskill, you say, oh, you're saying hi to everybody. Okay. All right. Went to Buckingham Palace. Oh, that just moved as I was reading it. Where did it go? Okay. I went to Buckingham and saw the flowers myself. It was nothing compared to Diana. Thank you for letting us know that, Nettie in. Nettie in, thank you so much. Okay. Okay, I do have the slow mode on, but still it's moving kind of fast. Okay. All right. So Etna Green says, hello, Baron and my fellow Squatty supporters. I think that they were saying that the Queen's funeral had less views than the game and less than Diana's funeral. Diana had more people in parks. Okay, Etna Green, that's what I thought that meant. I just wanted to make sure that I got it right. And I believe that also. I really do, because it's a tough sell. Um, I'm telling you, the people, young people, young people were definitely supporters of Diana. And this abstract like image of the sweet old grandmother was pretty solid for a while. But I think even before the funeral, um like when they interview people and they say, oh, she's just a colonizer, you know, a lot of young people, I am so impressed with their breadth of knowledge about the history and how much so many of them loathe that system, not hate anybody in the family, but just loathe the system and would rather have open free elections rather than having a monarch. And it's just that simple. And so I trying to sell that pomp and circumstance, and I think what killed it was that the hall having that vigil at the Westminster Hall. There was a lot of people who said, I thought they had the funeral already. Well, what was that we watched the other day? Wasn't that the funeral? The way that they pushed that and pushed it and pushed it, I believe it pushed a lot of people into believing that the funeral had already happened. And then when I told someone, oh, they're having something at the St. George Chapel. But what was that they had at the other place? I said, that was the funeral. It's too confusing. It is too confusing. And plus, it just took on a life of its own. And I just think it turned a lot of people off. Edna Green, thank you so much for your comment. Karen M. Antonio Gutierrez, speaking at the United Nations social media platform based business model for monetizing outrage, anger, and negativity are causing untold damage to communities and societies. Yet, Karen M., I'm telling you, I don't know why you don't have a show of your own because that is absolutely brilliant. Thank you for pointing that out. I agree so much. I do. I think that the Murdocking of media is destroying us. It is causing a rot in our society. It is causing so much pessimism and making people worry and causing anxiety and such. My first year of Royal Sussex, the channel had a very different name, and I renamed the channel in April of 2021, which is what I consider the start of Royal Sussex, because even though I, made the channel, I didn't use it. I couldn't wrap my brain around it because there was that lunatic in the White House, there was the pandemic, and then there was the constant barrage of negative media. And even though I fought hard to resist it, I found myself feeling a certain way and I just could not focus on my work. And so a year later, in April 2021, April the 15th, I said, I am going to make a video every day until I figure this thing out. And that's what I did. And over 500 and what, 20, 30 days later, I'm still here doing my thing, and honoring that commitment because I felt like I needed to make up for the lost time when I could not focus. So that is what the media has done. Was it caused so much distress, especially the January 6th invasion of the United States Capitol. I mean, I was just frozen from that one. That was like one of that to me. That was just as bad as 9/11. It was just as bad as 9/11 because when I think of what we could have lost that day, it's like when a child almost, runs into traffic or something like that, and you take so long to decompress from what shock you're in. That is what happened to me on January the 16th. I took so long for me to come back from that. Thank you again, Karen M. All right, you guys, I think I am just so super far behind that I need to just go to the last comment because Hyacinth Offer, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And happy Tuesday to you. Now, do you live in Belgium? Was that what you said before? Or was that you that lives in Belgium? I can't remember. But every time someone says they live in one of those beautiful places, I'm just like, you get to live there? You get to live there? Oh man, like there's someone who lives in Rome. I'm like, that's home? Rome is your home? Oh. Don't be surprised if I just walk up and knock on the door one day. But thank you so much and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. I mean, just imagine that. Could you imagine like actually living in a place like that? Like even seeing what was that place on at the Invictus, the Hague, seeing the Hague on television, how beautiful and idyllic it was. I mean, could you imagine if that's where you woke up every day? Oh, the joy of it. Only thing is for me is, could I imagine I could afford to wake up there every day? Oh man. Okay, Legology says I was reminded that as a child from the ghetto, I had to behave in a particular way for fear of being perceived in a negative way. I saw Meghan in the same position. She could not put a foot wrong. Uh, I I think so many people are impressed with the way that the Duchess of Sussex um, conducted herself around those awful, negative, nasty people. And pictures don't lie. I mean, you could just see the disdain on their faces for someone who hasn't done anything to them. Someone who is so far away from home and away from her children, which is probably the most vulnerable way that any parent could feel. And it did not stop the constant attacks. It just did not stop. And one of the sources behind that, I'm afraid, of course, the Daily Fail, which is owned by Lord Nappyhead, um, who, as a person of color himself, possibly, should know better if he ever comes out as a person of color, maybe. But for whatever reason, he has, facilitated the means to um, actually not just make life difficult for the Sussexes, but for so many people. And it's okay. I mean, look at that face. He's okay with the way that newspaper operates. He's a billionaire and he makes money. As far as I'm concerned, he makes money from fear and anxiety. And the same goes for a lot of people in the media. That is where they make their money. That is where they make their money, which is why I rarely look at the evening news in my own city. I rarely look at the evening news anywhere. I glance at certain things, and based on what I think it's about, I just decide whether or not I want that inside of me, and then I decide to either follow up on it or turn away from it. But hopefully, more often, I'm turning away from the negative stuff. Okay. Let's see. IDSW says, "Yep, January 6th was a nightmare for our family. My niece was stuck at the house office building and could not leave work that day until after 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Walked 3 miles from the Capitol to get an Uber." Oh my God, that was awful. Oh, that is terrible. That is terrible. That had to be painful for everybody. Um, that was involved. Your family, your niece, anybody. That had to be terrible. Just seeing this nightmare on TV and knowing that this is going on, this is how you get home from a day like that in a place that ought to be the most secure place in the country. And that happened with the consent of people who were supposed to protect the country from that. Let me see. Meghan was not prepared for the negativity and the non-support from the family in the beginning. She now knows what's to expect and is much stronger and can deal with whatever she needs to deal with. Joyce Post, yeah. I think that the tenacity of the enemy to wreak havoc and the idea that they could effectively buy off the paternal side of her family had to have been something that wasn't so shocking because, after all, she knows those people. But the ease in which they were able to buy off that side of the family, which also gives me great hope because the inability of those same dark forces to buy off her mother's side of the family reassures me. The idea that as much resources that were thrown at her father's side of the family, and of course they collapsed like a deck of cards. They gave in like a like one of those people of the night. Whereas her mother's side of the family, not so much. I think there was one uncle who shared some photos and gave a very glowing assessment about Meghan that probably should not have happened. But if that's as bad as it gets, I'll take it. But essentially, even some of the distant relatives with the name Raglan that they could have hijacked, they were not able to, as far as I know, to breach that wall of silence, thank goodness. And that's because growing up as an African American is one thing that you learn very young in life, and that's the such thing as Black people's business. And Black people business can be anything from what y'all got in your house to how you do your hair, et cetera, et cetera. That's Black people's business, and you just don't mix the two. And so I'm pretty sure that there was a very strong leaning toward that's Black people's business, and that was the end of it. So anyway, wow, got a lot of comments, so let me keep moving. Thank you, Joyce. Where am I? Oh, Dorothy Ross. Dorothy Ross, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. And you've always been so supportive to Royal Sussex, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. Um, yeah, thank you, Dorothy Ross. I appreciate it. And happy Tuesday to you. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Okay. And also got a super chat from okay, Maricata says, "Did you watch Hugo Talks? Very interesting about the ceremonial magic. The meaning of the wand was broken on top of the Queen's casket." Maricata, I did watch that. I did. I did. I tell you, ooh. That makes me look at everything differently, right? Yes. Holy, what is the word I'm looking for? Holy Harry Potter. What is going on with these wands? Huh. All that mysticism and white magic, black magic, dark magic, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it, but it makes you think, don't it? It makes you think that some people in the family that are not part of that just never really felt part of the family. What you think? Lucy Wynn, oh, by the way, thank you for the super chat and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Lucy Wynn says British media are complaining the Sussexes didn't sing God Save the Queen. The idiotic heifers need to understand Meghan is American and don't have to sing a song of worship to an adulterer. All right, there you go. Um, and then on top of that, on top of all of those things, um, that I would think that having gone through certain things, that the idea that you should sing God Save Anybody that is actively making your life difficult is asking for a bit much. But whether she did or did not sing it, there weren't everyone in that congregation did not sing it. Prince Charles did not sing it. And as far as that's concerned, I thought they were singing it for the Queen. And I think it's a little too late to, intervene on her behalf. So I thought they were singing it for the Queen. I didn't know it was for the King. But either way, I'm glad she didn't. If that is the case, I'm glad she did not. And I doubt if I would ever take a breath to it, especially now. Thank you so much for your comment. Do you realize this is the church where Harry and Meghan had their wedding? I cannot fathom their emotions being here again at this time. Um, well, their wedding was at St. George. The funeral was at Westminster Abbey. And so, depending on which, you know, case they're trying to make against them, you have to figure out which one they were in. Like for Harry, Westminster Abbey is where his mother's funeral took place. Westminster Abbey, that location, is where her coffin was lying in state. So I don't know why they get, or how they get away with bashing somebody who has survived the trauma that Harry has been through at a time when he's obviously in distress about another woman in his life dying just before his birthday. Or do they not get that? Or do they just not care? Um, okay. Let me see here. Okay, right there it says Lorna Williams says this is only day one. I am grateful for TMZ because they will stalk every airport until they get a picture of Harry and Meghan arriving, and then they will know for sure. Yeah. Uh, it's not hard to figure out where people are. So there was someone who had a Twitter page or whatever designed to stalk Elon Musk, and somehow this kid always seemed to know exactly where he was. So if you're flying, it's not hard to find a person, even on private jets. And yeah, I will be glad to see them, even though I loathe the paparazzi images. But the confirmation that they are someplace safe is what I need to know sometimes. Just sometimes I need to know that. So I understand where you're coming from, Lorna. Thank you so much. All right, taking a deep scroll to the very end, and let's get off that photo. So more cape, cape, and more cape. The red cape, the green cape, the blue cape, the dark blue cape, the black cape, and of course, the oh gosh, what designer was that dress? I forgot. Was it Givenchy? I think it was the off-white one there, or is that beige? Anyway, yet another cape. It really does convey a lot about her in those situations when she just needs that extra. And I'm glad that she knows to dress. Plus, it just really suits her. Big Mama, hey Big Mama, they stripped Harry of everything. He couldn't even salute. Why would they sing God Save the Queen? They were just there to attend his grandmother's funeral. Exactly, Big Mama. And you know what? When we are at a funeral, and it is a funeral for our family, um, I've been to funerals where other people stand up and most people in the family don't, or whatever. So, that was their prerogative. But knowing that these people are actively out to destroy me, I don't think I could sing God Save somebody who I think is trying to, destroy me. Thank you so much, Big Mama. The committal service took place at St. George's Chapel, where the coffin was lowered through the floor. Yes, IDSW. I made a whole video about that if you guys are interested. I won't show it here because it's about 15 minutes long, but it's all about the burial, and it explains everything. There's no shade, no reads in it. It's just facts. And so if you want to know how those things are done and all of the odd rituals that are involved with it, then you can definitely find that from the video I loaded in the wee hours of the morning. I had so much trouble trying to load that video. Thank you so much for your comment. All right, let's move on. And that image on the left side, oh my, I tell you, that one right there, that one, I love, love, love it. Every turn was an iconic photo. The one on the right with the um, London Bobby, as most of us here in the US would call them, the London police, Met Police, whatever, Royal Protection Officer, whatever his status is, with that pit helmet on. And then, of course, the guy with the red tunic on next to him. And there's our Duchess, that beautiful American, iconic, most influential woman in the world, just walking past, as graceful as you could imagine. Um, uh, let me see. I need to hate. Yeah, I believe 1960. I agree with you on that one. Is like nourishment to them. It really is their nourishment. Jacqueline Squash says, Baron, I think Juan or no, the Royals. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. Baron, I think what is it? W. Well, oh, wait a minute. I think we. Let me see. No, the royals are all of us will have to give account to God Almighty and what we said or done, whether good or bad, to the King of glory and at the judgment. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you so much for your prayer, Jacqueline Squash, the official chaplain of Royal Sussex. Yeah, sometimes, Jacqueline, I know the autocorrect can get the better of us, so don't worry about that. It happens. Thank you, son of the soil. Son of the soil. We need to welcome them from the airport. A huge welcome with flowers, and dress code should be white, like a really sort of stage. Let me see what would be colorful. Grace, what is it? Boy Cuckoo, Boy Choco, uh, Nalovu. I think I got that right. Thank you, son of the soil. That the squatties need to welcome them from the airport. A huge welcome with flowers, and dress code should be white, like a rally sort of stage. Okay, got that. That would be wonderful, right? That would be wonderful, not colorful, but wonderful. Thank you so much, Grace. And I think you're right. Uh, I would love to be there with a huge, huge welcome for the Sussexes. Although I'm sure that they would rather discreetly make their way home rather than to do any of that stuff. Let me see. Yes, Baron, you can afford Rome. My Verizon cell phone bill in the States was 100 monthly. My cell phone bill for the same plan is 12 monthly. Are you serious? Am I paying all that money for no good reason? Robert Collins, let me tell you something. When I travel, I use my AT&T long distance service rather than bother with another chip and all that kind of stuff. I just pay the money so that my phone seamlessly goes from country to country. $10 a day is what it costs. Doesn't seem like a lot of money to avoid the problem. Um, but that's just a little less than what you pay for your whole monthly bill. That's insane. Why are we paying so much money? Gosh almighty, that is awful that we have to pay that much. Oh well, but thank you for that. Let me think about that. Mm. Let me think about that. Maybe I should retire to the Eternal City. Thank you so much for your comment. I'll go any place where they got Starbucks, although that would be deeply offensive to the Italians because the Italians are the real deal. Starbucks kind of hijacked the Italian coffee. Let me see. Desmap says, is it Prince Harry who stands accused of stopping at some point when singing God Save the King? I saw Meghan singing it through. This map, I'd have to see it to know exactly what they're talking about. Some people, when you're in grief or whatever, your mouth is moving, but not so much. If they haven't gone through hell and back, did not put the vigor into the song and sweep their arms about like their uh what is her name, Kate Smith or something, then I I just think it's much to do about nothing. It's just something extra added to what's already been a terrible situation. Thank you for your comment. Meghan's crime today, she didn't cover her arms as is royal protocol, funerals. Meanwhile, let's look at Lady Louisa, shall we? Let's look at Lady Louisa. Not to pick on Lady Louisa though, because she is truly innocent. She's just a child. But take a look at Lady Louisa, who is the Queen's granddaughter, and that's her brother, Viscount Severin. Lady Louisa, she's showing as much arms as Aretha Franklin right now, and I don't see anybody tackling her and dragging her behind the pews, huh? Her mother knew that she was showing arms and had a, I won't say it's a plunging neckline, but that's still kind of fleshy too. And then, of course, let's not forget that her cousin standing in front of or walking in front of her there is wearing a skirt that I thought was rather short for, the occasion. But then who am I? I'm just a layperson. I don't know how these things work. But yeah, I thought that her, you know, Beatrice or Eugenie, I don't know the difference, but I thought that her dress was a little short. As a matter of fact, I think I still have an image of it from yesterday. Um, there it is on the left side. I thought that was a little, flashy for the occasion. Um, Beverly McCaskill, why is she showing her chest? Uh, right? Right? I thought, arms, chest, it's just a little fleshy for such a young person. But then isn't that the one whose dress blew up while she was isn't she the one who was walking those kids up the steps at Beatrice or Eugenie's wedding and her dress blew over her head? Isn't that the one that happened to? And everybody could see her draws on global television. I think that's the one that happened to. I thought I was going to scream. Do you hear me? They almost had to walk me out of there like Sugar Avery. I was inconsolable watching that wedding because they had a windstorm, and you know, uh, let's see, Black Queen. What is the national anthem? God Save the King or God Save the Queen. That's the national anthem. Oh, you said what national anthem? Well, yeah, that's the national anthem. Anyway, that's not for me, so I guess I shouldn't comment. Uh yeah, so her dress just blew over her head. I was in tears. That was so funny. They oh, thank you, Pam Porter. Checked this yesterday. There's two types of policing bodies. I think it is the Bobby is with the funny hat is the London City Police, the smaller geographic area. The Met Police cover the rest. Well, that makes plenty sense because there's the City of London and then there's the Metropolitan London. Um, the city of London is the old city, the Londinium, founded by the Romans, right? That's where they have all those secret guilds and financial institutions and stuff. And the interesting thing is that the city of London, they actually own stuff outside of the city of London in Greater London. And because of that old ritual that has nothing to do with you know, weird magic or anything or ceremony. Yes, it does. I'm just saying that the Queen always had to ask permission to enter the old city of London. How weird is that? I mean, do they have to say a certain spell so you don't turn into a frog or something? Don't you think that's a bit weird? Let me see. Lydia Washington says a lot of her clothes are her mother's. Lady Louisa was not called out at all. I think Ford Fiesta needs to get her own wardrobe now. Get her own wardrobe now. Uh, yeah, you know what? That does look like something Ford Fiesta would wear. I didn't even notice that. That does look like something it has just that amount of frump. It has just that amount of frump to be a Ford Fiesta original. Oh, you are so right about that. Maureen says she has a mother who could have told her the right attire to wear. They are just nitpicking because they can't find anything on her. She didn't put a foot wrong throughout. Exactly, Maureen. And so I think it's squatties. I think it's squatties. Let me say in our defense, in normal circumstances, I wouldn't care what anybody was wearing, but I'm just not comfortable with sitting back and watching the woman of color being attacked because she was the most iconic, graceful, dignified person in the room who showed the proper amount of mourning compared to most of the senior royals who seemed like they couldn't wait to catch their plane to Tierra del Fuego, you know? So, um, yeah, I'm just not going to sit idly by. Now, this is another iconic image of the day, and that is Meghan in the back of one of those cars with the reflection of the Union Jack splattered all over the windshield. Um, as a matter of fact, you know what? This really makes her look more like a queen rather than a duchess or a princess of the realm. Between the Harry and Meghan, they always look like they own the joint, and that is obviously um, Lydia. All I can say is you better be glad I can't find that video, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have a channel no more. You better be glad I can't find that video, and don't think I didn't look. Ooh, you better be glad I can't find that video. I almost rolled out the chair when I that poor thing was going up the steps. It's so bad though. She just a kid. But that tickled me so bad when I saw that. It was like everything that could have gone wrong that day went wrong. That windstorm had people's hats blowing through the courtyard there at the Windsor Castle. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. It was like I was watching the Three Stooges or something. Oh man. So yeah, y'all just be glad I can't find that video because I'm telling you, I would probably be in the hospital because I would have ruptured something had I been able to see that again. Oh, that tickled me so bad that day. Um, Let me see here. So God save only the queen and now only the king. What happens to the rest of the not citizens? No, Lynn, those are not citizens, they're subjects. The United Kingdom does not have citizens, they have subjects of the sovereign. The only British never question only the British never question that anthem and why. Yeah, and sadly that anthem has been adopted by other nations. However, only the medley has been adapted, I think, but I'm sorry, melody has been adapted, but the words are usually different. Like in the U.S., we say "My country, 'tis of thee" instead of how they sing it. So, but I'm going to tell you though, I get a real kick out of the fanfare. You know how before they sing it, they have the trumpets. Ba, 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 ba. You know how they do that big fanfare before they get into the song. I love that. I love the fanfare. And then all of a sudden, and because it's so short, I think they added that fanfare to make it more dramatic. But yeah, I love those guys with those trumpets at those state occasions like that. Um, But yeah, that national anthem, that is a worry. Okay, let us move on. Let me see. Was saying getting emotional. He sang the national anthem at the Queen's funeral this afternoon, saying goodbye to his treasured grandma. Y- Uh, Does Maps, it is just despicable the way they make something out of nothing. As a matter of fact, I have something that I'm going to add to that because there's another thing where they thought they saw something that they did not, and I could see clearly, and you will too, that it was just something that was made up. Anyway, thank you so much for your comments. Um, well, I tell you what, Grace. Um, if I just never let me see anything blow over your head like that, and I'm okay. But I can't help it. Stuff like that. I'm the worst person to have a slip and fall in front of me. I'm the worst person. All I can say is I hope you don't ever hurt yourself because I cannot be trusted. I cannot. Oh man. Let me see. Okay. Let me go on to something else here. So there. Mystery as Princess Mary of Denmark is a no-show at the Queen's funeral, despite husband Prince Frederick attending after the Danish royal family confirmed she was going. Well, how is that a mystery when you invited her and uninvited her to that reception? I'd be too embarrassed to go. As a matter of fact, if you try to humiliate me, of course I'm not going to go. UK offers profound apologies to Danish royal family after Princess Mary was invited to Queen's funeral by mistake, then told she couldn't come after regrettable error. You know, I think that after that trip to Denmark, when they embarrassed Duchess Doolittle, I think that they're just trying to get even with her. I really do. That trip to Denmark, where they embarrassed Duchess of Doolittle by not airbrushing her photos in their press, by asking, or actually, the Danish press were a bit teed off because they wanted to ask certain questions of their very pampered, protected, what's her name? That Kate, because of protected Kate, the most protected person in the land. Their press seemed to be a bit bothered by the fact that they wanted to ask certain questions and they weren't allowed to do so. And so, because of that, they, said some things in the press that the palace didn't like. The palace didn't like the fact that they could not control their media. That bothered them. That really set them off, was the fact that the Danish media was not playing along with them. And so for that reason, they decided to I'm just going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think that's why they did this invite, uninvite to Mary of Denmark. So now, this is why you cannot trust those the British royal family. This is why you cannot trust them, because they do stuff like this, and then they try to use the principle of, what do you call it, plausible deniability. They try to use that against you, but if you ask the question about things, people are so honestly, it reminds me of a cult. Every time I think about it, I just think cult, cult, cult. That's what it seems like. Those sycophants. I'm not just talking about the average person that, the royal family is just there. I'm talking about the people who seem to live and breathe the British royals, like that little Fruit Loop I met that day at the royal wedding that I recognized from TV. The royal supporter. That's what he told me. I said, "Aren't you the super fan?" "No, I'm a royal supporter." Well, whatever he is or is not, um, that appears that type of thing just scares me. I don't like that type of fixation on anybody. I don't like it. I find it I don't know. It just worries me. That's all I can say is it really, really worries me. And how easily people are hoodwinked is alarming, but they consent to giving away their own consciousness to uplift and elevate people who would never have them in their homes. That's scary. That's scary. But yeah, so it's so obvious the way that they protect William and Kate, and there's people who don't care how much anything costs. I'm a taxpayer. I'm willing to pay it, and that's that. So there's nothing you can speak to that. That is their intent. They're okay with that. And anyway, I got a couple of photos that I do want to share with you guys from that visit with to Denmark. But to do that, I need to open another screen. So this gets kind of weird, but here goes. I'm going to have to give you guys a little bit of an echo so I can do that. And then we can see a little background about this bad blood between the two families. Let me see. Okay, give me just a second. All right. So oh man. All right, let me get rid of this one. All right, you guys, I'm still here. I am just shuffling some stuff around because I noticed that when I'm on here for a while, when I try to get other things open, it does not seem to want to cooperate with me. So the only way around it is to open up the identical screen, and then that way I can add things while I'm working. Um, I hate that that happens, but that is the cost of doing business here. So let me go back to where we left off. And that was with this situation right here. And then take a look there. The British apologized for wrongly sent funeral invitation to Denmark's crown princess, right? Um, so I don't, and the crazy thing about it is they invited her, then she was uninvited, then she was invited again. Which is it? See how deliberate, see how deliberate that nonsense actually is. That was by design. That did not just happen. That was by design. I think that they're trying to send a message to her. Let me see. Okay, Black Queen says Princess Mary sure looked much better than their pale and frail futurette. Hello, Miss BSN. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so flattered that you're here. I love your channel. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate it. Let me see. I wish Harry would pack up all his mementos and and love his family uh, from a distance. Yes, B. Thomas. Yes, yes, yes. And maybe something has changed. Um, maybe something has. Baron Meghan's move, if true, is an ambassadorial move. Just make up that word, ambassadorial move. Huh? Interesting. Well, I like it. You sure that word doesn't exist? Let me see. Let's see. Lorna Williams says they didn't invite Princess Mary. Biden showed up late, and it's just me. Is it just me? But there is something in the waters. All right, so let's get to Mary, shall we? So there you are. This is the very dignified birthday photo of 54-year-old Princess Mary of Denmark, 54 years old. Instead of doing some type of ghost of Victorian nightmares past, she decided to do something that was elegant and dignified. Good idea as far as I'm concerned. And then, of course, if you take a look at the other one, that looked like somebody who went down with the Titanic and came back in a nightmare. Okay, sorry, just had a sip of water there. All right, so this is what I was digging out. On the left, the Danish media, no invisible contract. On the right, British media, invisible contract airbrush. Invisible contract airbrush. Notice the difference? These pictures taken at the same time. On the left is what the Danish media ran in their papers. And on the right side, this is what the British media ran in their papers. And so they had no control over what was going on in the Danish press. On the left side, airbrushed. On the right side, I'm sorry, not airbrushed. And on the right side is airbrushed. Not that much better, but airbrushed. Like, for instance, here, this photo is the one that was ran in the, I forgot which paper it was. And then the next day, they changed the story. Actually, I think they didn't change the story. It was just a different story that came out about that same occasion. And look at that. Look at what they did to her face. On the left side, they actually airbrushed it. I didn't do anything to these photos. That's the way they were. But when I saw the one on the left, I said, wait a minute, that's not how she looked. And so I went back and I found the one I saved on the right. Something told me to save that photo. Something said save it. Now take a look at the one on the right and take a look at the one on the left. And you can see why I decided to keep the one on the left as well, because I'm just like, wait a minute. They have pulled a bit of sleight of hand. That's not how she was yesterday. Same top, same jacket, same event, hair pulled back over the left ear. These photos were taken seconds, if not minutes apart. However, the mean girl doesn't have airbrushing on the right photo. And that is why they are angry with the people in the Danish press. This is Kate about town. This was Kate a week or maybe a week before the Sussexes came back for the what do you call that thing at the Westminster Abbey? The Commonwealth Day. That is what she was out shopping on the high street, and somebody spotted her. And as you can see, that resting mean girl face is a constant. That is why she smiles so much, because if she's not smiling, that's the real Kate. See, Meghan does not have an unpleasant disposition. And I understand why sometimes they say, oh, it looks like she has a smirk on her face. Uh, Meghan is at peace. She's at peace. She loves her life. She loves her husband. She loves her children. She loves her mother. She loves everything about her world in California. She's at peace. She has a very placid look on her face, whereas this person has a face like thunder. And the Danish press did not play along. And so I think the only way to punish them is to try to publicly embarrass this accomplished, intelligent princess, Crown Princess Mary of Denmark. They decided to go out of their way to try to embarrass her. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. She's not the one that needs smoke and mirrors. She's a whole and complete person, whether or not she married into that family. But that is not what the Windsors want. The Windsors want you to come to the family wide eyed, easily impressed, and dress up just so. And it doesn't hurt if you follow instructions well. That's pretty much what they want. So I don't know that they've made long term enemies between the two families or between the two women or whatever. But let's take a look at this about Crown Prince Mary. Mary, Crown Princess of Denmark, Countess of Montpezat, the wife of Frederick. Let's see, which means she succeeds. When he succeeds, Mary will automatically become a queen consort, right? So let's take a little dive into her background, shall we? Let me see. Let me just get to education. Education. In 1974, Donaldson started. I guess that was her birth name, is it? Donaldson? Let me see. I just went straight to her education. Oh, yes, Mary Elizabeth Donaldson. Oh, yeah, where was she born, by the way? Uh, huh. Okay, birthplace. University of Town. Okay. Okay. Donaldson was born the youngest of four children to Scottish parents. Oh, is that it? Is it because she's Scottish? Did I just say that? Is she Scottish? Is that what the problem is? Her paternal grandfather was Captain Peter Donaldson. She was named after her grandmother, Mary what is that? Uh, Dalglish and Elizabeth Gibson Melrose. Oh yeah, she's Scottish to the core. No wonder. No wonder they got it in for her. No wonder. That's why they got it in for her, because she's Scottish. I mean, a real Scot. Oh man, well, there you go. Upon graduation, she moved to Melbourne to work in advertising. She became a trainee in marketing and communication with the Melbourne office of DDB Needham rather, taking a position of account executive. And in 1996, she was employed by Mojo Partner and as an account manager. And in 1998, 6 months after her mother's death, she resigned and traveled to America and Europe and Edinburgh. She worked for 3 months as an account manager with Rap Collins Worldwide. And then in early 1999, she was appointed as the account director with the international advertising agency Young Rubicam in Sydney. And in June 2000, she moved to a smaller Australian agency, blah, blah, blah. And of course, eventually she met that prince and lived happily ever after. So no wonder they got an in for her. She has a good education from a university, and she has been a self-motivated, self-engaged, intelligent, working woman who didn't have people throwing her in schools to follow some um, derelict institutional prince around. Oh, Baron, the Queen of Denmark and the Queen are cousins. I don't know how many times removed. Mary have no relations to them, so she didn't need to show up. They did her a favor. You got that right. You got that right. And I saw it an interview they had with the Queen of Denmark, and she said some really nice things about Betty. And I wanted to ask her, are you sure you knew her? No, I'm sure they got along just fine. They called each other by nicknames and everything. But yeah, I'd be curious to know exactly what their motivation behind that. Oh, by the way, you guys, today's Royal Sussex was brought to you by Cambridge Curl, the no lie royal relaxer. Okay, so if you want to give your hair a swirl, make sure you use Cambridge Curl. Cambridge Curl. Cambridge Curl. All right, I think you got the point. And so, without Mary of Denmark, I guess that reception was just the usual dog and pony show. They had their usual dog and pony show without Mary of Denmark. Exactly. Princess Mary of Denmark knows her worth and works for what she wants. She is not worried about Mumbles and her crumbling world. They didn't invite her because she is a jealous, evil person. Evil. Exactly. RBDG Creative Podcast says she's yet another accomplished and attractive woman to protect Kate from. Right? But Kate almost knocked people down to make sure she sat and had a conversation with the first lady of Ukraine. She almost knocked people down to get to her. All right, so there's this. Now, you guys, this gets a little heavy, but let's go through this really fast. This is my theory. I've been saying this for a while. Andrew Martin was on ABC and spoke of Queen Elizabeth and her sister Margaret's relationship. He described Margaret as Elizabeth's wing woman and how sad it is that William lost his wingman in Harry. Margaret smoked 60 cigarettes a day and drank herself to death due to depression. Haven't I been telling you guys that? That's exactly what they wanted for Harry. They wanted Harry to be a Princess Margaret 2.0, and the fact that it would destroy him meant absolutely nothing to them. They did not care about Harry's health or well being. It was all about the crown, it was all about protecting and uplifting William. Make William look good, whether or not he's more talented or interesting or even motivated for the job. That is not the point. Take a look at Margaret. Beautiful Margaret, always seen as more engaging, more intelligent, more attractive than her sister. Always the life of the party, someone that people easily gravitated toward. That's not to say that she was the nicest person, because she could be a holy terror. But I think that the wicked nature that she had only evolved because of the fact that she was so destined to walk in her sister's shadow every day of her life. It was what she could and could not do, where she could and could not go, who she could and could not speak to, or even marry, because of her relationship to the queen, because of her being the queen's sister. She was the spare to the heir. She was the spare. And very quickly, they separated the two of them and gave certain instructions to the queen that were not available to Margaret. Margaret was just given enough information to fill the role if necessary. Otherwise, she had no purpose, no She didn't have anything. She had everything and nothing at the same time. And this is what happened to Margaret. This is what they wanted for Harry. Um, Vision problems, heart disease, stroke, cancer. This is the future that Harry could look forward to, is being confined to a wheelchair and rolled out as a bit of a curiosity on his birthday or whatever. So, um, there you go. That was supposed to be Harry's future, but for the fact, but for the fact, somebody who had little or no deference for the world that he inhabited told him, "You don't have to do that. There is a way out. You do not have to be there. I have had an amazing life, even traveled on Air Force One, my words, not hers. Um, and I didn't have to do any of the stuff that you're doing. All I have to do is be myself. I can help people, I can uplift people, I can do all the things that I want to do without the confines of following my siblings around. So, what is it going to be?" And Harry decided red pill or blue pill. So he decided to try the blue one. And that blue one, just like in the Matrix, that is what set him free. And because of that, he was able to get outside of the Matrix, and he found the Oracle, Oprah Winfrey. He found Morpheus, Tyler Perry. That is what happened. He was able to get out of the Matrix. Otherwise, that was his future. This is the iconic image of dear Margaret when she had to make a choice: either relinquish your titles or give up Peter Townsend. And by the way, you guys, Peter Townsend used to live in Adelaide Cottage. Did you guys know that? That was the Grayson Favor home that was given to Peter Townsend, who was I believe he was the equerry to George the Sixth, the Queen's father. That was her choice: either relinquish your titles, enjoy a generous, you know, uh, did they offer her money? I think they did. And of course, you guys, she had the very, very bad misfortune of doing this in the wake of George's brother. Um, you know, what was his name? Edward the Eighth? Was it Edward the Eighth? Uh, anyway, she had the misfortune of being yet another person who wanted to give up that life, give up duty or whatever, so that she could be happy. And they didn't take it well. And they threatened her with everything they had to take away her HRH, whatever. Everything was to be taken away from her. It wasn't what she had to gain, it was what she was going to lose. They even sent him, uh, what, they sent him away for like a year, hoping that they would forget about each other. I mean, they literally sent this guy to the other side of the planet, hoping that they would forget about one another. And there's Harry, right there in the middle of the Matrix, unhappy, disengaged, set apart from the rest of them, wondering what happened to Mike Tyndall's nose, wondering why his mother referred to Princess Michael of Kent as a U-boat captain, wondering if his uncle is making fun of Asian people. That was the world he inhabited. This is one of those many occasions at Westminster Abbey where he felt rotten because of the rot that was all around him, and there was just no way out until he went to the military, and then eventually his permanent way out was to marry up. I said it, to marry up. He married up when he met the Duchess of Sussex at the time. Rachel Meghan Markle. That was his way of marrying up to get out. That was his way out. Without the Duchess of Sussex, who knows where he would be? Um, there's a lot of possibilities, but eventually, this is what would have happened. This is what would have happened. Losing a lung, losing your vision, everything. That is what they had for him, but for the fact that he got out of there. So, right here, a family that humiliates a grieving grandson at his grandmother's funeral belittles itself. The royal family who can't salute, the royal who can't salute, Prince Harry is pictured in the middle of this family with hands by his side after being denied right to wear his military uniform. And this is what's so awful about this is that there was a running narrative of every humiliation from start to finish. I don't know if non-squatties noticed what was going on. I know they've seen bits and pieces of it, but that there was a running narrative of every um, single attack, everything that they could throw, they did it. Aside from, I don't know, running them over or something, but that was the way that it played out all these days. I don't know, maybe this was, a warning about the book or just the usual pettiness. There's Margaret right there, standing off to the side, not married, of course. There's her sister with her husband of however many years, 70 plus years. There's her mother with her husband. And there's Margaret, the same way she lived in life. That's the same way she is in death, with the four of them. Her father, George the Sixth, he used to have a nickname for the family, Us Four. That's what he called it, Us Four. And Us Four, I believe he said that, did he say that one was his, oh, I forgot what he called the girls. One was like his pride, the other his joy, but those are not the exact words. But there was a lot of things. He was a loving father. I don't doubt that. And the mother, she was so full of herself because she loved the attention that she got, but she was also very protective of her husband. So as a family, they were very tight. But once the throne was in the balance, um, things changed. The dynamic in the family changed. And Philip was able to easily fit in because let's face it, when Philip got there, he was broke, had no prospects other than being in the Navy. But aside from the Navy, he was the penniless Duke. He was the Prince of Greece and Denmark. That was what his title was, Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. Most people didn't even know his last name. And so when he got there, a lot of courtiers were very suspicious of him because, in spite of the fact that he came into that family with nothing, somehow upon death, he had 30 million pounds to divvy up between one or two families. Wink, wink. That is what he had. And so Margaret, poor Margaret, was reduced to a slab of granite, not even buried by herself, but her ashes are actually in the same tomb with the other people in that photograph. And the reason why she was cremated is because there was no room for her in the vault, which was made for four. And so they cremated her so that they could add her ashes without her getting in the way again. Isn't that so poignant and so sad that even in death there was a chance that she might be in the way? So they reduced her to ashes, literally, figuratively and literally, she was reduced to ashes. And so unlike the rest of the family, her grave marker is propped up against the wall in a very temporary way instead of on the black granite slab in the floor with the other names. Hers is just plopped up against the wall with a likeness. Yeah, so I'm sorry, Diamond Pearl Gem says the other Prince William was buried into I'm sorry, not buried. What am I saying? Bullied into giving up the love of his life. He died in a plane crash at the age of about 30. I saw the story about that. He met that woman in Tokyo who was an expat herself, and the family did not want him to marry her. And he died tragically in a plane crash, never fulfilling his true happiness. Thank you so much for the super chat. And if you guys haven't heard of him, the other Prince William, you guys need to look him up. It's a very interesting story. Good looking, ambitious, and had no use for the royal family life that he had left behind. So he went all the way to Tokyo to be free of it. But in the end, somehow they still seem to have gotten to him. Um, oh yeah, sister. Hi, Baron and Squaddies. When I saw Prince Harry the second time following behind Betty at the funeral, he looked like he was dragged literally, and was drained. They tried to destroy him. They did. They threw everything they could at him. They threw everything they could at him. So right there, you can see them taking away the crown jewels. But take a look at Charlotte down there. See her pointing? She's pointing at the man taking the jewels as if to say, Mommy, Mommy, aren't you going to put that in your purse? Isn't that yours, Mommy? Not yet. Mommy, they're taking your jewels. I just thought, wow. Oh man. I mean, I know that that's probably not what happened, but it could have been. At least Kate was probably thinking it. Mommy, that I thought you were taking that. Isn't that yours? Mommy, aren't you going to put that in your purse? So here's an image of St. George Chapel. Back in the old days, St. George Chapel was very different. Not so different. I mean, it hasn't changed much over the centuries, but as you can see, there were people living like right up next to it. Of course, on the other side, there is lots of housing there. And there's still, you know what? That building is still there now that I think about it. This photo is actually this illustration is probably from the 1800s. So, yeah, you know what? That is there. It's just a little bit. No, that is exactly where it is. So, yeah, you can see it's very much open to the public and everything. You can just stroll through there at any given time. And this is the way it looks today. You can barely see that building, but it is to the left of it. There's a little courtyard at the main entrance of the church. So, yes, that is where the Sussexes were married. The main door is to the left side there, facing uh west, I think. Yeah, I think it faced west. And then there's this person. By the way, let me take a sip of water, you guys, before I go on. Let me take a sip of water. Hit it, Annie. A horrible human. Meghan Markle has a terrible influence over Prince Harry. Weren't we just talking about Australian television? Were we not just talking about Australian television? And this person right here, whatever her name is, I actually saw the video. She was absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And this, of course, is during a period of time of mourning. And I have to tell you, Sharon Osbourne and that hoghead Pierce Morgan, they weren't any better. They were not any better at all. This was going on during what was supposed to be a period of mourning. And I don't think either they don't care what image they give to people of color, or they just don't see it. But I think it's that they just don't care. They really do not care. They just put it out there, and if you don't like it, too bad. Too bad. But this is the face of Australian television. Prince Harry made an awful mistake by marrying Meghan Markle and leaving the royal family behind, says, what is it, Liberal Senator Holly Hughes. Wow, she don't seem so liberal now. I think she's had a terrible influence over him. She said she just made. I'm sorry. She's just a horrible human. They're awful, revolting people. That's what she said. I mean, full throated attack on, of course, Sky News Australia. But you see, what's going to happen is just like I could tolerate the Sky News UK most days if it doesn't have anything to do with the Sussexes. Like, for instance, reporting on the um, funeral and stuff like that. They can be not so neutral, but tolerable. But the Australian news, it seems as though it's all Sussex all the time. If there's a house fire in Perth, it had something to do with Harry and Meghan, right? If there's a cat stuck in a tree in New South Wales, it has something to do with Harry and Meghan, her influence over him. Always. And this is the face of Australian television. So, as we have learned over time, there are some Australians that are totally against this type of journalism, that loathe their television. So, just so we remember, there are people in Australia, in the United Kingdom, in Canada, and the United States that either are neutral about the Sussexes or generally like the Sussexes but are not actively defending them. But one thing a lot of those people have in common is they hate this right wing, alt right journalism. So just because people aren't actively doing something about it doesn't mean that they are for it. But, you know, um, everybody's got things going on in their life that they can't always, stand up to fight different things. But just as we learned from those ladies that were on the train in the UK, some hater that thought she was in a safe space being in the UK found out that these white women on the train were having none of it. Were having none of it. And you could tell that it caught her off guard. She thought, "Oh, I'm in the UK. I can say whatever I want to about Meghan. There's no black people around." And of course, she, of course, being African American herself, I can say whatever I want to about Meghan, only to find out that she was wrong. So, um, everybody has their motivations for sure, and so I don't begrudge anybody who hasn't taken up the fight, but I do have it in for somebody who says negative things, even in the most casual of ways, because they heard somebody else say it or whatever reason. That I don't tolerate. Let's see. Murdoch's Australian Sky News is the most obnoxious news outlet imaginable. So I've been told. And there have been some people from Australia who have, you know, said as much, that is pretty dreadful, and that people are trying to you know get it off the airwaves or whatever, but it's not a lot you can do in an open and free society. Okay, so then there's this. I put my arm around my brother all our lives. I can't do it anymore. Or is it William to Harry? We need to be team players. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Sometimes throughout the day, they will actually change the headlines without any warning. They'll just change it. They'll change the front page or the headlines, or perhaps the front page on the newsstands are different from the ones that you see online as a headline. And if you take a look here, this is what I mentioned earlier. Now, according to the Daily Fail, Harry is staring. No, actually, I think it was just someone on the Twitter who said if looks can kill. Harry was supposedly looking at William, right? Harry seems to be looking down the aisle. He doesn't. His gaze does not seem to be fixed upon William. And of course, in this photo on the right, William is the closest balding head, not the one closest to Harry. I just don't think that he's looking at William. Everybody sitting in that area seemed to, at one time or another, glance in that direction. And so I don't think Harry was any exception. I don't know who was interesting in the area beyond where they were seated, but all of them at one point throughout that service seemed to look that way, like, oh, there's so and so, or what is this person doing? So I just don't see that as being a possibility, but it's a single photo that they are going to use to tell the lie. Okay, and then over to here. Paddington Bear. Well, this is being very nice, Your Majesty, but there's is just one thing. What about those bearskin hats, old lady? Huh? What's with those bearskin hats? Why do you have people walking around the courtyard down there wearing bear skins? Would you like it if I had a corgi skin hat? Oh man, I thought that was too cute. Uh, And that is something to think about. You invite Paddington Bear over, and as he walks into the place, he's walking past dead animal hides, dead bear hides on the heads of the soldiers. Not, of course, that this really happened, but it is something to think about. Listen here, you old lady, about those bearskin hats down there. Um, I don't know how that tradition got started with the bearskins. And they said that they were going to try to substitute a synthetic, but it just did not hold up the same with the rain and everything. So, okay. And then here, there's our non-binary prince again. There's our non-binary prince. There he is. Check her out. Our non-binary prince. Oh yeah. I mean, I told you every so often, um Edwina will find some kind of costume or accessory that just does not seem to exist for other people, right? She'll find something that is just that little splash of color or that little sparkly something. Now, have you ever seen anything like that on any military dress before? Dress being the operative word, but have you seen that anyplace else? If that don't look like something adapted from Michael Jackson's last tour, I don't know what it is. It's like he went to an auction and purchased one of Michael Jackson's tunics, right? You don't see that anyplace else. And then, of course, brave, stoic Sophie, who is pretending like it's not strange. But it's like I told you guys before. Edwina has a flair for the dramatic. Take a look at that hat. Now, here we've seen tens of, what about 10,000 military people on full display. Military, police, all kind of social, not social, but civilian, what am I saying? Government agencies on full display. Government ministries, departments, whatever. And yet there is only one red hat. The Red Hatter. There's only that one red hat. That hat does not exist anyplace else in all of Britain. Nobody else has that hat. Just Edwina. Seriously. Eddie is the only one that has that hat. That hat was custom made just so that she could put on the right, shall we say, impression. I'm sorry, not she, them, they. Just so them, they could make the right impression. And then right here, there's that bespoke maxi military coat. You don't see that anyplace else. I mean, where do you find a maxi coat that long? Now, somebody said, "Oh, I think that was Philip's coat." No, I think Eddie is actually taller than Philip. Eddie had that made. And I think red is the go to color. You got me? Red seems to be the go to color. So, not here, it's a funeral. That would be even too much for Edwina. But Rambolina's red cap that does not exist anyplace else in the military, that long, dramatic maxi coat that doesn't exist anyplace else in the military. And then, of course, when Eddie learned about Harry's lining of his jacket at that Commonwealth, do you guys remember that Eddie was the only one in the family that spoke to Harry? I think the reason why is because Rambolina wanted to know, hey, where'd you find the green liner? Oh, well, Megan, such and such. Oh, okay. Where'd you say that place was? And just as sure as the sky is blue and water is wet, that very flair for the dramatic, Edwina went and got herself, they self one, they went and got one for herself. His self, their self. Uh, Oh man. Big Mama says Ford Fiesta don't care what Edwina wears. She's just glad she's getting airtime since Harry and Meghan left. She's not gonna rock the boat. Oh man. Well, if you take a look here, this is why I think red is the pop color, the go-to color. As you can see there, Eddie got on that very snazzy looking Parker or windbreaker, whatever you call it. That is red. And then too, not to overdo it, what about this very puffy tunic that he's wearing right here? Again, I haven't seen this color anyplace else, but with that very dramatic Eddie. Eddie is the only one, Edwina seems to be the only one who's ever worn that before. I've looked and I've looked and I've looked. I went to Cosplay Royals R Us and I could not find that jacket. I couldn't find it. But yet Edwina has one. So don't get too close to his mummy because he, she, they, them will say, just step back. And that's Rambolina. Prince Edward is Rambolina at a theater near you. Okay, this is courtesy of social media. What exactly did you do to win these, Eddie? There must have been some major flack flying in your 1 month service in the Marines. Or if you could take a look there, oh, that's very small print. But Prince Edward showing off his medals. He dropped out of the Marines after 4 months and never saw active service. So, but yet, but yet, he was able to go in full military regalia to everything to do with his mummy. But there is something brooding inside of him. There's this menacing atmosphere that seems to surround him. And I'm telling you, I always feel like I'm looking at Anthony Perkins from Psycho. I do. He just gives me that Anthony Perkins from Psycho. Like, if they don't name me, if I'm not given the title, the Duke of Edinburgh, somebody's going to come up missing. I wouldn't hurt a fly. Remember that line from Psycho? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Yeah, so I don't know. He scares me. It's always the quiet ones, you know? It's always the quiet ones. He's savage to haul off and just snap. Anyway, you guys, that was pretty much it for today. It has been almost 2 hours. I can't believe it. Where does the time go? Where does the time go? Here is some of the best of yesterday. You might remember the Duchess of Sussex. Good morning, America. Duchess Meghan arrives at the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Hollywood Reporter, Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, arrives at Westminster Abbey. It was all about the Duchess all the time. The Duchess of Sussex has joined Prince Harry and other senior members of the royal family for the Queen's state funeral, says Vogue magazine. Or how about Birmingham Live? Birmingham? Isn't that a working class, old industrial revolution city in the Midlands of the United Kingdom? And yet they say Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is seen at Westminster Abbey during the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. So this biggest event on earth, and some of those reporters say the biggest event in history, seems to have been upstaged by who so many of them in the tabloid media has declared as a B-rated, second-rate actress and all that kind of stuff they've called her. But for whatever reason, she is the moment. She is the moment. She is the moment. And over time, we're not going to forget about Betty. That's impossible. But truthfully, Betty hasn't been that relevant for quite some time. Um, it's been other people in the family that seems to have filled the airwaves. And out of all those people, there's just one person that is leaps and bounds ahead of the pack, and that happens to be the Duchess of Sussex. Harry, of course, no shabby seconds there. Whether they're alone or together, they just seem to command whatever space they're in. Harry, King Harry, good noble King Harry, as he is flanked by his protection, his bodyguards. And remember, you guys, take it from Sophie Wessex. Whenever you are accused of being racist or something like that, just remember, reach out and touch somebody black and make this world a better place. Doing that, reach out and touch somebody black. Look less racist doing that. Take a little time out your busy day to touch a Negro along the way. You got to reach out and touch somebody black. And then people won't notice how racist you are. See there? William's doing it, Kate's doing it, and you got Sophie. I mean, she just plucked that little child right out of the crowd so that people can see how racist she's not. So you got to remember, if anybody has ever accused you, you got to reach out and touch somebody black. Matter of fact, can you film that? Because I want to see the reaction. When you do reach out to touch somebody black, please film that so that I can see the reaction. I'm just saying, I'm sure it's going to be a totally positive outcome depending on what area you're in and, you know, how you couch your approach. But I'm pretty sure that, oh, you'll be okay. I mean, after all, it's not difficult to replace dentures or teeth or whatever. So, yeah, reach out and touch somebody black. Matter of fact, grab their hair. Okay, I'm just kidding. Don't grab their hair. Matter of fact, don't touch nobody unsolicited like that because you might get hurt. Uh, oh man. But yeah, that was their instructions. You know how they say she understood her instructions. Her instructions was go out there and touch somebody black. Now, William, of course, you know, he has often slept rough with a black man, so he's not averse to any type of contact with people of color. I mean, he sleeps rough with black. He's given speeches under the moniker of Martin Luther Cambridge. So you know nobody understands black folks like he do in that family. So what could I say? He's just the ultimate opportunist. Is that offensive? Anyway, reach out and touch somebody black, you guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. I just realized I didn't do any videos today, did I? I didn't share one single video, which is amazing because now that there are some 20,000 plus subscribers, you would think that I would have had something to say, you know, thank you or whatever. So let me see what I have. I mean, I do this one all the time, but I think if it works, why, you know, what I mean? So let me see. Let me try that one. If it works, why mess with success, right? So on that, I am going to say thank you again for the 20,000 plus subscribers to Royal Sussex. Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy. Girl, the Duchess of Sussex won. Meet me at the Royal Sussex party. Nelly's gonna be there. All right, Ivy out. You know what? I have not come down from my high yet. As you know, I. Okay, so again, thank you guys for the 20,000 plus subscribers. Um, this has been very, very good. Let me see. Oh, well, good. I'm leaving at just the right time. Let me see. I am getting out of here at just the right time. I guess I'll fix myself some lunch or something. Let me see. I think that was it. Let me put something on the screen. Um, Supermodel work. All right. Oh, what was on this slide? Okay, I see. Yeah, I'll leave it right there. I love that. That is like my new favorite photo. There were so many. You know what? Despite everything from this week, did you guys notice that the Sussexes, and I know that it was a funeral, But did you guys notice that with everything that was going on, the Sussexes had one amazing photographic moment after the other? I mean, just, they didn't force it, they didn't plan it, but it's just something about the two of them that is so photogenic, so relatable to so many people. I mean, every turn is like a romance novel cover, with the exception of Harry not taking his shirt off or our Duchess exposing, too much. It's like a romance novel. They just are like a hand to the glove. They just seem to suit each other. So I'm very grateful for that. Lorna Castellano, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And to the people that, let me see here. Wow, nobody ever uses Venmo, but thank you so much for that, Venmo. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching and supporting Royal Sussex. I won't say the name, but JH are the initials. And also, I think there was, nope. Was there a PayPal? I think so. Okay, maybe not. There was not a PayPal. But okay, yes. So thank you for the Venmo. Greatly appreciate it. Oh yes, there was a PayPal. Thank you. I won't say the name, but OA, thank you very much. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And happy Tuesday to you all. Thank you for making this like the fastest growing Sussex friendly channel, I think. For all the Sussex friendly channels, I would say this was probably the fastest growing. I mean, just out of nowhere, because of your participation, your likes and shares, your comments, everything, Royal Sussex just really took off. And I am very, very grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, this has been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to many more occasions where we can be together. Again, Duchess of Success is coming on soon. What else did I want to do or say? I think that was it. I guess I'm just looking for the last word of the day, which is, what is the last word? Uh, all right, great session today. Thank you for hosting Royal Sussex. Thank you, Deirdre Monkey. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here. And let's gingervenge ourselves out of here. Oh wait, the list. I almost forgot the list. Okay, you guys, I think I'm moving too fast. Let me slow down, but um, I want to get you guys going because 2 hours. I mean, it's. I'm trying not to go so many hours anymore. Um. Anyway, I think I've got it. No, I don't. I think I may have missed somebody, but just to be sure, let me do the list. Okay. Thank you so. Oh goodness, this is long today. Thank you so much, Masa Kali, for your new membership. Lydia for ringing out the 20,000 first, I think. And Audrey, thank you for your super sticker. Gloria Brown, Elaine Parker, Connie Balmer, Joan Garcia, Ray Raquel, Deidre Meinke, thank you so much for the new membership. Mari Kata, thank you so much for both donations. Stephen Black, thank you for the donation and for your many great memes that I've shared. Brenda Lee, thank you for your super sticker. Maggie Margaret, Hyacinth Ofer, Dorothy Ross, thank you all for the super stickers. And RBDG, I believe you had a super chat. And Diamond Pearl Jim, super chat, thank you. And Lorna Castellano, thank you so much for the super chat or sticker chat. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Also, don't forget our faves. our Queen of Everything, Doria, and our Queen of Hearts, Diana. Let me see. Okay. Baron, I listen to your channel daily. It's simply brilliant. Your commitment is unwavering. I wanted to say thank you. Please keep up. I'm throwing the please now. Keep up the good work. Okay, see what I get for Russian. But yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for being here because that is what makes all of this possible. Like, share, etc., etc. Okay, one more time. Ginger Avenger. And I promise I'm not going to stay longer after that. After Ginger Avenge, I am out of here. So I got some things I need to do too. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Okay, so I just put the link for Duchess of Success, but I'm looking at it says, "Hi folks, sorry, but we'll move podcast to tomorrow afternoon as as I'm still exhausted." Uh I don't know. Well, I mean it's live in 18 hours. Oh yeah, she did just change it. So yeah, I think she comes on tomorrow. Uh So I'm looking right now, and she did just change the time till tomorrow. So if you guys are headed over there, um, by all means hit the notifications so you can catch her. But for me, it's not afternoon. It looks like she's coming on in the AM tomorrow. So um, anyway, make sure you guys just do the notifications so you don't miss out. And I am going to go. Thank you all so much again for the 20,000 subscribers. And if you want to know about, wait a minute, why I don't have anything on the screen? There you go. If you want to know more about how they put Betty away, how they moved Philip and Betty to be together, You can see it on that video I made yesterday. Let me see if that is another one of those food truck videos. I wonder because, as much as I love you guys, you I think y'all be trying to mess with my head. So let me see if that has turned into a food truck. Oh my God, it's not a food truck. Never mind. Forget what I said. It's doing okay. Never mind. It's doing okay. Never mind. Never mind. Forget what I just said. I take it all back. You guys are perfect in every way. Y'all don't be messing with my head or nothing like that. I'm just having some fun. It's doing okay. So that's fine. Okay, one quick Europe. You want a quick Europe story? Oh, Marshall, sometimes I have to think about it. Let me see. One of my experiences whilst visiting Europe, or how about something related to this weekend? Let me think about that. Uh, Thank you, Lorna Castiano. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. You have been very supportive of this channel and my food truck videos. So, let me see. Oh man, I can't really think of a Europe story off the cuff. Although I think I've been thinking about Spain recently because of seeing the King of Spain and his father that injured his leg because he tried to shoot an elephant or something like that. And whatever musket he was shooting, the recoil of the rifle knocked him down. And then he lied and said it was something else. And that's not fun to like laugh at old people that have injured themselves. But I think he had lied about it. He was out doing some big game hunting rather. And when he tried to shoot, I think it was an elephant or something or a tiger, the recoil of the rifle knocked him down, which, as far as I'm concerned, you can call it karma or divine intervention. But either way, I'm glad for it. But okay, let me see. Westminster Abbey? No, I don't like that one right now. I can't think of anything right now. Well, I mean, yeah, I can't think of anything interesting right now. Give me another opportunity next time. But yeah, sorry about that. Let me see. How many cities in the United States have you visited? I think it's been a lot actually. Let me see. I can say, all right, Orlando. I've been to Asheville to see the Biltmore House, right? New York, many times New York, many times Washington, D.C. Been to Atlanta a couple of times. Went back to Florida. Um, Went to Miami actually. I think I did a very, very short trip to Miami. I can only count it because I didn't stay at the airport. So if you stay at the airport, you can't count it. So, all right. So Miami, Las Vegas, quite a few times. Los Angeles once as a child and then once as an adult. San Francisco, Tacoma, and Seattle. And let's see, St. Louis, Boston. Um, Let me see, Philadelphia, yeah, and where else? Minnesota. Well, Mall of America, Minneapolis, St. Paul, that kind of thing, and of course, Milwaukee, Chicago. Um, Let me see. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been a few. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now for some reason. I want to say I've been to some more places. Did I say St. Louis? But yeah, and then some of those places I've been a few times. And Iowa City, I know some people there. Um yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's not as many places as I thought. Oh, New Orleans. New Orleans. I went to New Orleans for the first time. Um, Oh, Hawaii. I went to Honolulu, Waikiki, Waikiki Beach, Honolulu. Is that one and the same? Yeah, I went to Hawaii. I think some places I probably just forgot about. I said Atlanta, Washington D.C. So yeah, those are some of the places that I went, or maybe all of the places. Not sure. Maybe that's all of them. Let me see. Are you talking about? Let me see there. Baron, was Philip's side piece at Betty's funeral? Haven't seen a pic. I think she was. I think she was. I know who you're talking about. Let me see. What was her name? I can't say it without my harmonica. Certain things I just can't say it without my harmonica. Let me see. Yes, New Orleans. I have been to New Orleans. Uh uh uh. Penny Natch Bull and I don't care. Penny Natch Bull and I don't care. That's the name. Penny Natch Bull and I don't care. Cause Philip's will is closed. I don't know. But yeah, Penny Natch Bull. Let me see. Both side pieces. Oh, you know what? And I was thinking about that too, you guys. I was thinking about how badly they have been treating Harry. And there is Charles. There is Charles and Camilla who absolutely tormented poor Princess Diana. Took that young, naive, sweet, innocent girl and turned her life into a nightmare. And they're just sitting up there reaping the benefit of it, laughing and enjoying themselves and just fooling themselves and looking down their nose at other people, and Charles having a fit over them exploding pins they keep handing him. Right now, as we speak, somebody has gone to like a magician shop and bought yet another pen to hand to Charles so that it will explode and get ink all over him and Camilla. So yeah, I was sitting up there thinking about how full of themselves they are and how much they are enjoying and reaping the benefits of the place that they have found themselves. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. They disgust me. It makes me so sad for Princess Diana because she was truly the innocent one. Charles was older, and I don't limit it to him. I think between both families in the so-called modern age, to put that kind of pressure on that young girl just so that they could have this virgin to produce heirs, only for them to do a complete about face with having a young virgin to produce heirs. And they find for the next Prince of Wales, his current wife, well, let me put it to you like this, was no stranger to booze and rolling out of a black cab in the middle of the night, um, having abandoned certain articles of apparel someplace who knows where. But um, isn't that a big turnaround? Isn't that a big turnaround? And I don't mind saying it because as much as I'd like to have a good laugh and hopefully we can learn and laugh together so that we can all, heal from what we've just witnessed. I have to say, I don't mind saying these things about that particular person or persons because they're so awful. They're just completely awful people, awful, cruel people that worked so hard to make Meghan's time there miserable, and that so many people passively nod their heads and say she knew what she was in for, or she had it coming. It's very disappointing. I have to tell you guys, I spent a lot of money for my dream trip to the UK. And that was just the longest trip that I spent there. I'd been there a handful of other times, but that one trip where I meant to make up for all the places that I had never been, I spent a lot of money that time, and I don't regret it because I had some great experiences. But the thing is, for other people who may want to have a similar experience, it's probably too late because you can't unring that bell. You cannot unsee what we've just witnessed. So I was there not completely naive and innocent because I knew that there was a lot of wealth that was accumulated through the slave trade and that was responsible for some of these beautiful places that I've seen. But that in modern times, that very same um, type of attitude that was used to justify the slave trade is the same, I guess, discipline that is used to maintain this toxic environment that some people are so comfortable with is disappointing. So that is where I stand with that. I'm not sorry that I had the experience, but I just as I named so many places here that I've been, um, it was a lot of places there that I've been that I'm sure a lot of people there had never been or wanted to go and didn't go for whatever reason. Not that they couldn't, but they just didn't. But I had, an itinerary of where I wanted to go. And so I spent a lot of money doing it. I hadn't, I think I had at that point, I hadn't taken a vacation for about, maybe 7, 8, 9 years. So I saved and saved and saved, and I kept putting it off, kept putting it off. And then one day I just bought the ticket and went. And that's how I got to know the Sussexes, was because I figured if I'm there, I may as well watch the wedding go by. And so that's how that happened. And then fast forward to last year when I got serious about the channel, that's where the commitment came from, is because over that time I was able to learn more and more about Harry and Meghan, and I just felt like their values were in alignment with my values. And so I just kind of took to them like a fish to water. So that is why we are here now. Um, but yeah, those are some very cruel, cruel people. And I don't even think they care about how awful they are. It's just second nature. And I think the mean girl just really fit. She found her voice. I think before she got into that family, she didn't really have a voice. But once she joined that household, she's home now. She is home. She had, like, how when you catch a fish and it's too small and you throw it back into the lake and the fish is like paralyzed for a second and then all of a sudden it's just swimming like hell. That's Kate. Kate was a little bewildered and starstruck, but she has found her voice now and she's using it, and not for the good either. She's using it against people who haven't even done anything to her except for get a good education and show some independent thought and such. Those are the people that she wants to take out because that's the mean girl. So let me see. Marshall says visiting the UK was on my bucket list, but now, since seeing how the Unroyals and British media have treated Meghan, I know Marshall, and I really hate that. I hate that they that has that effect on people. I really hate that because there's some nice people I met. There's some really, really nice people. And I must say, I had that dream of going to Scotland and it did not disappoint. I thought Scotland was lovely. Um, Let me see. Well, and guys, I don't know if I mentioned this for a while, but you guys know I do have a bit of a connection to the Dumfries house, right? You guys do know that there's a connection between myself and Dumfries house. Prince Charles, here's that bag of money, Dumfries house. And that was because I saw a documentary about Dumfries house. And I thought, wouldn't it be grand if I went to the Dumfries house? And so I did. I went to the Dumfries house and I thought it was just absolutely amazing. It was, you know, um, I have to say, Charles put together an amazing place there. There's a bigger story about Dumfries house, which I won't tell you right now, but it just has to do with the fact that it is the best collection of furniture that was custom made for the house 300 plus years ago, and that same furniture is still there. Thomas Chippendale furniture, real Chippendale furniture that there's like some 60 pieces of it that was custom made for that house, and it's all there. And so it was on my list of places to go. And I even saw um, there was a painting of Queen Victoria and what's his name, John Brown, and they had it on the easel, not framed, but just on the easel. No, I think it was framed, but it was on an easel across the room. And I looked at it and I said, I've seen that painting before. I said, that's that painting of Victoria and John Brown. I said, and I'm thinking to myself, that can't be the original. And no sooner than I saw it, and I thought that to myself, the tour guide said, and you may recognize this painting. It's the painting of Queen Victoria and John Brown by so and so, and it's here on loan from some anonymous person in the United States. And when I say it was on display, I mean literally, I could have just picked it up and walked out with it. Although I have to tell you, when you take the tour, they have a rather burly guy that follows the group, and they have the tour guide that leads the group. And there was only a group of about maybe 17 people, me being the only Baptist, which is code for the only black person, me being the only Baptist in the group. But I was alone, and it was just myself and these like pensioners, these older couples in the group. And the house was just amazing. I mean, seeing it on television and being in that space was something that I found breathtaking. Now, this was long before all the stories about cash for honors and stuff like that. And I do believe that Prince Charles wanted the house not so much for himself, but the house brought a lot of jobs to the community. I'm going to tell you, and I'm not saying this because of what happened lately, but at the time, I asked the cab driver. I said, "I'm going to the Dumfries house," and without even prompting him, oh, the Dumfries house, the Dumfries house, this, and jobs for the community, and people have got job training, and so and so, so and so. All of that stuff, he just rattled it out. And then there was somebody at a shop or a restaurant in the area, and I asked them about, the Dumfries house and everything. And same thing, they had nothing but good stuff to say about Prince Charles, and that is the truth. So the money may have come from some very dodgy people, but the money was meant to save this collection and to keep the furniture inside the house that it was custom made for. And, that may not be the most important thing in the world, but to make sense out of it, they had to create jobs in the community because otherwise it would have been more insulting for the people in the area if the Dumfries house was salvaged and it didn't actually do anything for the community. So, with that, I have to say, yes, the money has come from some dark places, but it has gone toward some good. I don't know how much the ratio of bad money versus good work, but I'm just telling you, I won't pretend like I didn't have that experience because that's exactly what happened. So I'm telling you the truth as I know it. And they said on the tour that not only does Prince Charles stay at the house from time to time, but also in exchange for these donations, people who have the means to support the house can also stay there as a guest. And also, the house is used for like those country shooting party weekends, but it's almost like a timeshare that doesn't belong to anybody. Now, and I'm saying more about this than I intended to, but this is the premise of it, is that they were going to break up that collection of furniture and they were going to auction it all over the world. And the furniture were placed on lorries and they were en route to London to go to Christie's, I think. And there's a great documentary about this, so please do check it out if you can. And so Charles said that we can't allow this to happen. We got to keep that furniture together. Now, the heir who inherited the house, this guy was going to take 38 million pounds, and he was going to sell the house, the contents, and everything just to get rid of it because the old lady that lived there died. And the only thing that was new in the house was electricity. Obviously, it's a 300-year-old house, so electricity didn't exist. And other than that, it was pretty much the way it was, you know, 300 years before. That's why what makes it so unique is that so much of it, so much of it hasn't changed in all that time. And so they um, they were able to raise the money. They Charles put up half the money from the Prince's Trust, and the other half of the money came from donors that he called from here, there, and everywhere. And so they were able to raise 38 million pounds and pay this heir for the house. And so after that, the first thing they needed to do was restore the house. But they turned the trucks around in the middle of the night and put all the furniture back in the house. I mean, it's a really cool story. And so when I saw that documentary, I said, I got to see it. I got to see it. If I'm going to Scotland, I may as well go and see it. And so that's how I got there. And so I was so inspired by that. And then even like walking around the house, I'm going to tell you the other cool thing about it. If you've ever taken a tour of a house, you know they don't let you do it without ropes or plexiglass and all that kind of stuff. This house, they said Prince Charles does not believe in roped off tours, which is why they only do the small groups. So when you walk into a room, you could literally turn your behind around and plop down on a piece of furniture that costs, let's say, there was a china cabinet that was valued at about 20 million pounds. There was a chair that would cost, like £1 million because it was a Chippendale, and they have the receipts from the original bill of sales for everything in that house. And so I got a little anxiety because I was just like, what if I trip and fall and put my elbow through that? Or what if I collapse and break that table or something? But I just, everybody was very much extra careful for that reason. And so the rug that we walked across, that rug was the original rug from when the house was built. And so instead of rolling up the rug like they do at the White House, you know how they roll it up so you just walk on the floor instead of the carpet? What they did was they went to a place where they make those runners for, carpets or floors to keep them from getting ruined. And so they had the runners printed and embossed with the same design as the original 300-year-old carpet. So when you walk in the room, you see everything the way that the owner of the house would have seen it. There's nothing cordoned off, there's no plexiglass or anything like that. everything is as it would be if it was your house. So that is my experience with that. So I'm not going to say anything bad about it for the sake of saying it. Yes, the cash for honors was something that is not available to everybody. It's taking money from some shady characters to maintain a house that has become the focal point of that community, really the way it would have been years ago. So that was my experience there. And it was surreal because I was in this place I saw on the documentary maybe 3 or 4 years before I got there. And I almost didn't go because it was out of the way. But I said, nah, you come this far, just go. And I did. And it was everything that I wanted it to be. Um, so that was my experience with Dumfries House. I don't remember I paid that much to get in. I just remember that I went and it was great. So um that was like one of my best days in the UK. Actually, I had so many of them I really couldn't count. I went on the Britannia. I wanted to see that. And and I walked through those streets of Edinburgh, which is hauntingly gorgeous. I mean, I felt like I was in Interview with a Vampire. Everything was so gloomy and dark and foggy and ancient that it was amazing. I couldn't believe I was there. So Marshall, I would say this: go to Scotland. Or if you really want to go, I tell you what you can do to balance things. Just make sure you spend some time in the Black community, right? And I can give you a recommendation for a great tour in Liverpool. That I took this tour about the slave trade because Liverpool was the most important city in the United Kingdom when it came to the slave trade. And there's a guy there. His name is Lawrence Westgaff. I mentioned him a long time ago, and I saw him on television. And so when I got there, I called him and asked him if we could meet up. And so not only did we meet up, but we also walked around Liverpool. So I had this one-on-one personal walking tour, and I saw all of these places where that slave trade wealth built Liverpool. All of those homes and municipal buildings, all of that money from the slave trade. And then at the Maritime Museum, they had an exhibit on the slave trade as well as they had an exhibit on the Black merchant marines that a lot of people forget even exist. So I got this amazing education in Liverpool. So you don't just have to go to London. You can get outside of London and do some amazing things. And if nothing else, I have to tell you, most museums in the UK are free. The British Museum, where you can go and see all of the stolen stuff, the Victoria and Albert Museum, where you can see more stolen stuff, all of those places are free. When you go to Paris, you pay to breathe in Paris. But in Britain, at least the museums are free. And it took me a long time before I figured that out. I think the second time I went, I was like, what? So just some ideas, but I can give you that, Marshall. If you want to balance it out so that you don't feel like you are, you know, giving in to those what do you call those parasites, then there is some amazing places with people of color, Black people, that you can visit. And you know and also there's tours that you may be able to find off the beaten trail where they you can go, like I did that tour that I took. That was just something I saw on TV. This guy is amazing. He knows all the history. So yeah, that's that, you guys. All right, my Shar, you got that out of me. I hope you are satisfied. You got that out of me. Let me see. I may go to Scotland. My surname is Scottish. Yes, the first thing I'd want to see in the UK would be the Black Brits and how they are doing. Yeah, I stayed in Brixton one time, and I didn't see enough of Brixton to really say that I know the place, but I really enjoyed it though. I felt like I felt at home. So yeah, and there's a large um, Afro Caribbean community there, of course, an African community. So there's plenty to see and do that does not involve adding to the coffers of the Windsors, that's for sure. Um, but yeah, I love Scotland. I have to warn you though, it's easier to understand people in Edinburgh than Glasgow. When you go to Glasgow, you need subtitles because I couldn't understand a word they said. I would hear like the first two words, and then after that, I was like, "What? What? Huh? What? Oh, okay." I still didn't understand, but okay. But it's okay. I still had a lot of fun. And then there's always Spain. Spain is so beautiful and so much more affordable than any place else I could think of. Spain, and even more affordable is Portugal. And don't worry about speaking the language. Lord knows I don't. But people took great care of me. Just make sure you got the right attitude and everything, and people will look out for you. They understand. I did not have a bad experience. Let me see. Yeah, that's true, B10. That's true. That's true. Although I have to say, one of my biggest motivations is architecture, as you know, and that tends to guide my experiences. Is my architecture. Um, I have books of architecture. I I guess in some ways I have lectured about architecture, so that's my kink, and that is what guides my travels. Is there must be an architectural component to it, otherwise I'm probably not as interested. That's why it took me so long to go to Hawaii, is because I didn't really want to go to Hawaii just to, and like California, that was, I just went there by chance. There wasn't enough interesting architecture to really draw me to LA. I mean, they have some great places, don't get me wrong, but that's my thing, is the architecture. I want to see that place and this place, and I want to take my pictures and stuff like that. And you guys seen some of my photos. I have very few photos of me standing in front of this or that. Most of my photos is like, wow, look at that interesting detail. And just to tell you how nerdy I am, just to tell you what a nerd I am, when I went to not Dumfries House, Downton Abbey, the Highclere Castle. Okay, beautiful, beautiful place. But you know what? The first thing I wanted to see, which was actually the last thing I saw, I wanted to see the back of the house. They always show the front and the side, but they never show you the other two sides. Well, those sides are not as ornate and beautiful. As a matter of fact, the back of the house is not attractive at all, not in a conventional way, but I wanted to see exactly how the house was made. um I like to look at the how functional it is, and what's original. And so I wanted to see the back of the house. I couldn't wait to see it. As a matter of fact, I do have a photo of it, and I think I shared it before. And if you're interested, just remind me next time and I'll show you. But that's what I wanted to see because they never showed it, and I figured it must have been kind of, this utilitarian look of a structure, and that's exactly what it was. But it was interesting to me. I think a lot of people would be kind of like, I don't get it, but yeah, that's just my thing. What's that, Sylvia? You like Spain? Spain was my favorite. The people are very what is that little? I'm sorry, and welcoming, polite and welcoming. Is that should that be polite? Um, that's the way I found it, Sylvia. I love Spain. I loved it, and I saved so much money compared to most places. And I wanted so desperately to go to Morocco, but I was running out of time. So when I went to Spain, I did the Iberian Peninsula. I spent 1 week in Portugal and I spent 2 weeks in Spain. I saw a whole bunch of stuff. Every day I would wake up like I was going to work and I would have to take an excursion bus here, take a tour bus there. I did that every day. I went to the um what's that monastery where they buried the royals? El Escoria. I went to the Valley of the Dead. I went to Seville, Toledo. Well, actually, I stayed in Seville and I went to Toledo. Um, it was amazing. Oh, Spain was just amazing. And I actually took a picture of this what do you call that? A sarcophagus, a tomb, and I didn't know who it was, but I was like, wow, that is the most elaborate burial I've ever seen. It was Christopher Columbus. I was like, and I didn't realize that until a long, long time. I don't know why I didn't know that at the time, but I would have remembered. But yeah, it was Christopher Columbus. I could not believe it. So, oh man. So, did I used to live in Brixton? Oh no, I didn't live there. I was staying with someone. I had a friend that stayed with me in the States, and when I was taking one of my grand tours, he had invited me to stay with him in Brixton, so I did. And anyway, so it was like I stayed in Brixton part of the time, and the other part of the time I stayed at a hostel because, my schedule of jumping up early and getting on those tour buses and stuff, I thought that was like a little disruptive for someone's home. So I usually prefer to just stay at a hotel or whatever because I don't want my schedule to conflict with other people's and stuff. So even a hostel to me, I'd feel better staying there than at someone's house just because of my independent streak. So um yeah, but when you take those excursions and tours and stuff, you got to get up and out early, so you can take that first run of the day. And some of those excursions is an all day trip. And so you have to like be at a bus depot or whatever at like 6 a.m. sometimes. Usually it's 8 or 9 a.m. But then they hit the highway and you may not be back until 10 p.m. at night or 8 at night. So it's an all day thing. So you need to pack everything you need and get on that bus and go. So that's what I would do. Excursions are great because you can see so many other places without having to stay there. You can just use a home base and then go to those other places. So, all right, you guys. Courtesy of Marshar, that was oh man, you guys know how to get me going, don't you? So we did Gingervenge and all that kind of stuff. Duchess of Success and shit. Oh, Pedal was on this morning. Did you guys know that? Pedal was on this morning. So I haven't looked at it yet, but I want to. What's that? An international traveler? Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, I have. But I'll say as far south as I've gone is Sao Paulo, and as far east as I've gone was Tokyo, and that's it. Just Sao Paulo and Turkey, Tokyo. and Cancun. I've been in Cancun before, and Tijuana. But I was a kid then, so I couldn't enjoy it. But Cancun, I mean, I did enjoy it, but not in a adult way. No, that sounds strange. I mean, just you know what I mean. It was interesting. But yeah, Cancun. Oh my God, Cancun. And see, well, I'm going to tell you something. Everybody knows how I am about architecture, and so people would say, "Why don't you ever go to an island?" I said, "I've been to Manhattan. Manhattan is an island." That was me just being that way. But, but the first time I took a tropical vacation, I went to, I think it was Cancun. I think it was Cancun. And that was my first real tropical vacation. I was like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand why people go to tropical places. I understand now. And I sat around and did little or nothing, and I soaked up the sun, and I just it was so casual. So I'm like, okay, I may do this again. And then I went to um Hawaii. But yeah, but before that, I had never taken a trip to someplace tropical to sit around and do nothing. I'm always up and I got my camera ready, and I want to go and see this and that and the oldest this and the tallest that. That's me on a trip. It's like there's no rest. There's just, oh, we got a train to catch. That's me. But I can do the tropical stuff. I walked around in some big khaki pants, and a matter of fact, they weren't even khaki pants. They were just like beige drawstring something, and some flip flops and a funny hat. And I had such a good time. I must admit, it was very, very cool. So, I am not against a tropical vacation. But if I had my choice, like when I went to Cologne, I was like, I always wanted to see the Cologne Cathedral. And that was the reason why I went to Cologne. I wanted to see the cathedral. I think it's like maybe the second tallest in all of Christendom, something like that, or third tallest. So, all my life, I had wanted to go to Cologne to see the cathedral, and I finally went. So, that is how I choose my vacations. All right, guys, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. And you guys are so nice listening to me talk about my little travels like that, Marshar. Oh man, that was very nice, allowing me to indulge myself with another lengthy explanation about different things like that. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, love you guys. Have a good night. Connie Balmer, try to get some rest. All right, is this past your bedtime? What time is it there? It's got to be like what? Midnight, right? No. Let me see. We're 3 hours behind. Maybe 7 hours. Wait, no, 6 hours. Maybe seven. So if it's 3 here, 3:30 here. Oh, it's not that late. It's only what, 10:30 there? Yeah, you're okay. Okay. All right, you guys. Love you. I am going to end broadcast. I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully with a with another 1,000 subscribers. That would be nice. All right. Love you guys. Toodles. Wait, why is it doing that? Okay, toodles.